Da 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 da. Is that the?
I don't know what jingle that is.
That was McDonald's.
This episode of
McDonald's.
This episode of Let's Make an Offer is sponsored by Chicken McNuggets.
Oh.
All right, well, let's make an offer, John.
Let's.
That's our podcast, LMAO. I want to talk today about the housing shortage and why is there a housing shortage and is it going to get corrected? And yes, and no.
Okay.
So let's talk about the housing shortage. Why is there a housing shortage?
People aren't moving.
I would say that's a big factor. People aren't moving because they have low rates.
Yep, that's one of it. Part of it.
Huge demand.
Yep.
Even bigger demand coming up with the millennials coming into the market.
They aren't building $250,000 homes, are they?
They are not. Entry level homes are upper threes, which is crazy. I mean,
yeah.
So there aren't any builders building entry level homes, but even if they were, like in Omaha, we're about 8,000 homes short of what we need to be a balanced market. So that's running about 600 homes a year we're short based on current demand. Now, if a big national builder came in, and one did a couple years ago, and let's say another one comes in and starts building 1,000 homes a year, which would be a huge number. If they built 1,000 homes a year, 600 would go towards the shortage every year. 400 would go towards a deficit of 8,000. It would take 20 years to get to a balanced market.
Oh boy.
Not counting the millennials coming into the market, which is the biggest demographic ever in the United States to come into the housing market.
Right.
So you're looking at, even if a large national builder came into town and started building 1,000 homes a year, you're probably talking 25, 30 years before it's a balanced market. And there's not a big builder coming in to do that. So you look at it and say, okay, well, gosh, what other issues are out there? Why is this happening? Because you continue to see home prices appreciate because of that shortage and demand and everything else. But why is it happening? And I think one of the big reasons out there is the number of homes coming off the market, going into rental properties, turning into rental properties.
Yeah.
I'm not against individual investors buying rental properties, investment properties.
But the big boys.
I've got some,
the
but
hedge funds.
When you have these huge hedge funds buying thousands and thousands and thousands of properties,
I don't like it.
taking them off the market, that needs to stop.
They're buying whole neighborhoods too.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a big national builder again. I'm not going to name names, but they came in town a couple years ago, and to help increase their sales, what they decided to do is buy or develop neighborhoods, build the homes, rent them out, then turn around and sell them to a big institutional investor, hedge fund. So they're basically saying, okay, we're going to build this neighborhood with 200 homes. We're going to rent them out, and then we're going to flip that and sell them to this hedge fund, which now the hedge fund now has hundreds of more homes.
Yeah. And
they're doing this all over the country. So it's not just in Omaha or something like that. It's all over the country. And again, when you take thousands and thousands and literally tens of thousands of homes off the market and keep them as rentals, how are you going to resupply the market? You're not going to.
No. And
so it's a real challenge out there. And until there's some conversation about it, some legislation about it, that's not going to change. And I'm sorry, there's not enough builders out there who are willing to commit to building that much. And then it comes out of cost factor as well. Because even if a big builder came in and said, okay, I'm going to build 1,000 homes a year, they're going to be at $400,000. Well,
and finding the labor.
And then finding the labor, which then now all of a sudden, all housing prices are going to go up more.
Yep.
Because there's less labor out there to do all the work, and then they're all going to demand more money. That's what happened during COVID when we were so busy with new construction. Everybody came in every other week. All right, I want $2 more an hour. I want $10 more. I want $20 more, and it just happened time and time and time again. And that's not good for the market. We're boring Rachel to death here. She's sleeping over in her chair. I'm glad she's here to film this.
Me too.
Thank
Doing
God.
good work.
Chrissy's here at least, taking care of everything for us. Appreciate that, Chrissy, because your compadre there is snoozing. I wish we could just turn the camera right now on Rachel and make her do a little podcast.
Here's just putting her to sleep.
Yeah.
Let's turn things up a notch.
All right, let's kick it up a notch.
Okay, all right.
You ever watch Emerald Lagasse?
Is that the chef?
Yeah.
Bam!
Bam! Kick it up a notch.
That's it.
My daughter and I used to watch that when she was little. She thought it was so cool because it would go bam. Kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I guess, you know, I lived a pretty boring life if that was my entertainment. But, you know, it's there, John.
Yeah. Wyatt and I watch YouTube videos. There's a local guy, his channel is called Flair, and he does hunting, fishing, and they do a lot of fun stuff around his acreage, and then he goes out into his farmland that he hunts on, and Wyatt picks up on some interesting things about how to fish a little bit better, different fish species, duck calls, all sorts of fun stuff.
Quack, quack.
Yeah.
Quack. That's my best duck impersonation.
That's our type of entertainment. We don't have Emerald anymore to.
So okay, so YouTube. Let's go down this YouTube rabbit hole.
Okay.
Before we go back to the housing and why prices continue to increase so much, and how to correct that. But you watch a local guy.
Yeah.
And why it does, and pick up some stuff. What other YouTube channels do you watch?
Oh boy.
I mean, I got a couple favorites of my own.
Let's see who else is on the list.
Oh, he's got to look it up. He doesn't even know, so he's not a real true fan of anybody.
That is true. TFL, Fast Lane Truck. They do car reviews. It's interesting.
Never heard of it, but
Ben Mala. He's a real estate investor down in Florida, and he buys up. He's more of the hotel tycoon, and he's entertaining to say the least.
You know, I watch LMAO on YouTube. They've got some really great podcast videos you can watch, or so I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised you haven't really watched those or paid attention.
I've watched most of them. I think we're up to like 14 episodes now.
Oh, John, way above that. Way above that. And they're entertaining. Or
Yeah.
Or at least we try to be.
Let's get back on track. What do you think?
You ever watch Frankie?
Frankie.
All right, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. We're going to skip Frankie. I got a look of disgust from somebody, but that's okay. So let's talk about housing again. Why do house prices keep going up? And there's been a big commission lawsuit filed, and some companies have settled. Berkshire Hathaway and some of the other major companies are not settling. They're going to see this all the way through appeals and everything else. But one of the complaints in the commission lawsuit was that commissions were artificially inflating the price of homes. And the commissions were driving the prices higher, and there was no competition, and it was a monopoly.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not. I mean, commission is the commission. It's not raising the price of the home. It's been the same forever. Actually, it's come down. It's not the same as it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago when houses were less money. And you can't tell me you don't have options. If you want to go get a discount broker, or you want to list it for sale by owner or whatever, you've got plenty of options out there to do that. But if you want a full service real estate company that's going to market your home to, you know, the masses and get the most demand and most people in your home and the best offer, then you come to a team like the Metro Pros at Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services Master Real Estate, and we can help you out. Our track record shows we sell homes quicker than our competition and for more money. So it's not commission that's driving the prices higher. What is your thought on prices going up and why that's happening?
Well, demand.
Demand certainly is a huge part of it.
And there just aren't enough homes for the number of buyers that are out there. And when you talk about, when I read about this lawsuit, and from a loan officer aspect, having a buyer pay a buyer's agent the commission, it's going to be really, really hard because they're already coming in with X amount for down payment, their closing costs, and then tacking that on, but buyers they don't have it. They don't have it.
Right, and so what the commission lawsuit's trying to do is split up commissions between this listing agent and the buyer's agent. And to your point, the buyers don't have that commission money. They have barely enough for their closing costs and down payment.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they got to come up with additional money. Well, they don't have that and can't come up with it. So then the sellers are going to either be asked to pay it, and then the question is okay, if the house is listed at $300,000 and I want my buyer's commission paid and I ask for that, what's the appraiser going to do? Is he going to appraise the house for more?
Interesting.
That's going to be a touchy area. And then the other side of it is, how many sellers are going to say, I'm not paying a buyer's agent commission? Because that's going to limit the buyer pool, because the buyers don't have the money to pay.
Right.
And where's the money going to come from? Because people don't work for free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody that works for free in any industry. Maybe they do a poor job and they don't make money, but they're not trying to work for free.
Right. And buyers going into a home on their own, making that offer, they're risking a whole bunch without the knowledge that a buyer's agent brings to the table, as far as making sure the contract's filled out. Are you going to do a home inspection? Okay, let's do the home inspection together. Let's nitpick this thing to make sure that the house is actually what you want. Is the neighborhood good for your family? All the other things that a buyer's agent will do. Countless open houses or showings for different properties, and all of that just adds up to, like, you need to have a buyer's agent.
You do, to be protected, and I would go further than that and say you need to have a buyer's agent that's qualified and experienced, because let's face it, there's over 3,000 real estate agents in the Omaha metro area. Over 3,000. There's not that many homes on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And so the average agent is only selling 3.5 homes a year. Now, in addition to that, 2/3 of the agents sell 2 or fewer homes a year.
Wow.
So are you working with one of the 2/3 that sell 2 or fewer homes a year? And if so, what's their knowledge of the market and marketplace and contracts?
Negotiating
and everything else. It's probably not that great.
Right.
So I think those are things you need to look at when you're talking about a buyer's agent and everything else. I think the biggest driving factor, well, the two biggest driving factors for price increases in homes is demand and those big institutional investors. They're taking so much inventory off the market that's driving prices higher. They're willing to overpay for the house because they're not looking at it from a home buyer standpoint, they're looking at it from an investment standpoint.
Yep.
They know, okay, big deal, if we pay 5% too much for the house, we'll recoup that because we have tenants paying for it, and in a year we're fine, and they've got deep pockets.
Yep.
So I think those two things are driving the prices up. Now, everybody thought last year prices would come down. In Omaha, they still appreciated just over 6%. We're seeing that so far this year. We're running about 6% year over year price appreciation, which isn't crazy, but it's been a more difficult market. So we want to make sure that we're addressing these things. And again, I mean, this is a national issue.
Yeah.
This is not just a local issue. It's a national issue, and something has to change dramatically in order to fix this problem.
So who do you talk to?
Who do you talk to? I think, the only people you can talk to is your elected officials, right?
Yep.
Senators and congressmen and women, and call the president, have a conversation with him.
Yes.
Hello, Joe, this is John, and I'm calling about this housing crisis.
Yes. Deeply concerned.
And then
please address this.
You look at the number of people coming into the country too.
Yeah.
I mean, millions and millions and millions of people coming into the country every year. That's going to drive demand for housing up as well.
True.
So, there's a lot of factors weighing on this. So, it's interesting to look at. No quick answers out there. It's going to take a combined effort on multiple levels, I think.
What is NAR's what is NAR's position on that, or Do you know if they're doing anything to protect consumers and the national hedge funds purchasing up these homes?
Yeah, NAR, National Association of Realtors, is having discussions about that and how to attack it.
Good.
No, I have not heard of a plan yet that's in place to actually go after this and get it corrected. But it'll be interesting to watch it, but it needs to be done because, like I said, it's going to take 25, 30 years of major increases in new construction. And then, even then, it's probably going to take longer because they're not building entry-level homes, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
And when I talk about entry-level homes, I mean, really, entry-level is like 200 to 300.
Yep.
And there's just no new construction like that. So.
Oh, well, can we please bring the printable homes?
Printable homes, that's another thing.
They're so cool.
printed homes.
That's what I'm watching on YouTube. A channel where they set up this robot and they set up the machine. There's 3 guys on at the home site, and this machine goes around and prints the house with cement. And they can either smooth the walls out or you can see the actual print lines. Pretty cool, and it's going to be durable.
Right.
It's pretty tough. So the cost of constructing those is far less than a standard build.
Well, they're doing that in parts of the country right now and having success with it. Nobody's done it here or brought it here yet. You have to work through the building codes and everything else to make sure that that's feasible. But that's a good alternative, and you can build a home a heck of a lot quicker.
Yep.
So it's quicker, cheaper, and better for the environment, really.
Let's do it.
Not chopping down all these trees and everything. So, well, that wraps it up today, John. I mean, we'll get on another podcast here soon and talk about some more things. But the housing shortage is here. It's not going away anytime soon. If you're thinking about buying, I wouldn't wait. It's not going to, next year or the year after or 5 years from now, it's not all of a sudden going to be a buyer's market. Get in now. Start building equity for yourself. Start paying your own mortgage instead of your landlord's mortgage, and help yourself out financially.
And let's make an offer.
Let's make an offer
Together.